So you live with Snapchat Queen, AI chatbot friends, and we got a quick topic today. Woke up this grand rise and seemed like the IRS is feeling the pinch of this takedown. Now I told y'all I worked during COVID at Verizon and Spectrum, right? I'm still waiting on Internal Revenue to release my tax money. I mean, they was running so much tax fraud and Internal Revenue during COVID. We couldn't believe the numbers that they put on them tax papers, right? So I'm still waiting on IRS to tell me when I can get my money from when I worked during COVID because, like I said, they got into these offices to steal our personal information, right? Anything that they knew that we had, they got into these offices to take them. So I found my brother right here, D Miles, 84 Conscious Channel 2. I like him. Y'all go check my brother out. We're going to listen to some of his audio. I don't own the rights to his video, not taking any credit on his video, but got to break down some of this language and see what's going on around us with this government shutdown, right? So we're going to listen to my brother this morning, give us some information on the IRS. Y'all go follow his channel. I'll put a link below for you to go follow him. He has some good knowledge as well. Good, very, very good information for you. I don't own the rights to his video audio. This is for learning purposes only, for educational to learn dialogue and language on things that's going on around us so we can learn things like what furlough means, right? That means you work for free. It means that you said that in your contract, well, okay, I'll work this amount of days and I'll give you this amount of days for free, right? I volunteer those days, right? Because I'm dedicated to the service, right? It's not about the money, it's about me enjoying what I'm doing and being able to help somebody, right? So I can give you this day to help somebody. This also shows you who's in these systems, right? To tear these systems down because they will not work for free. That gets rid of them at the same time, right? Because if you're a terrorist, right, you're not gonna come in and work for free. You're not gonna do. You're not gonna risk going to jail for free. So let's listen to my brother about what's going on with the IRS.
Yeah, what's going on, family? It's your man B Miles coming to you live once again with another video from the B Miles 84 Conscious channel. I actually want to come to y'all with another video, man, talking about how the IRS furloughs nearly 35,000 employees, says most operations close. They said the IRS said Wednesday that due to the lapse in appropriations, most agency operations have been paused until lawmakers reach a deal to end the federal government shutdown. While the updated IRS contingency plan shows that approximately 35,000 employees now identified as exempt have been furloughed. In the latest fiscal year 2026 lapse appropriation contingency plan for the IRS, posted early Wednesday afternoon, the Treasury Department indicated that 39,870 workers, or 53.6% of the total employee population of 74,299, are design exempt and are expected to continue working with pay.
Now I'm gonna pause him right there. That was a lot, right? Now he threw some numbers out there on how many employees there was working for the IRS, right? I mean, you got to think about these numbers he throwing out there, right? I mean, that's a lot of people that we got to pay, right, to control our money, right? Mind you, he's talking about them having access to that treasury, right? Where that federal dollar is, right? The federal dollar is the immigrants over here fighting over our tax money. That's why it doesn't make sense to us, right? Who are the Americans, and it's our money that they're in these federal offices, right, hiring themselves into in the multitude. I told you they come into your city by the masses. They get into jobs that's gonna help them, right, take down your city, right? That's gonna call it trickle down effect, right? So let's keep listening to brother.
Paid during the shutdown. The remaining 34,329 IRS employees have been furloughed until the IRS shuts down. The IRS lapse in appropriation contingency plan describes actions and activities for the 5 business days starting October the 8th, 2025. Should a lapse in appropriation occur, the updated contingency plan states, in the event the lapse lasts longer than 5 days, we recognize that additional challenges may arise. To address these concerns, the Chief Operating Officer will host daily calls with the senior executive team to discuss any issues and major challenges related to staffing and operations.
So basically, what he's saying to me is, if we don't give them our money, right? Because he said some other stuff gonna rise. There's gonna be some problems, right? If we don't give them our money, because they already hired themselves in these jobs, right? They're gonna start attacking our systems, which they already do. And this is why you have to get into those government systems and take them out, right? A furlough day is them saying, I'm not going to do that, right? And why do we need all these middlemen? Because that's what we call a middleman, right? To collect our pot to tell us what to do with our money, right? And they are the only ones who are benefiting and profiting off of it, right? So you got to listen to the dialogue he's using, right, as he's spitting out this information, right? Read in between the lines, right, of what they don't want you to hear, right? I mean, he's only reading, right, and saying what he's reading off this paperwork, right, of what he's reading off some data, right, and these are the codes that they talk to each other, right, that we aren't trained to hear, right? Because we think that they're just talking, oh well, they just laying them off. It's all right, and they just laying this so many people off. No, what they're saying is those are how many people who got into our systems, got jobs, and breached the IRS, right? And if we don't give them our money, because it's about that treasury, right? If we don't give them our money, they're going to start doing other things, right? And you got to listen to what he's reading out here because it's only about the federal dollar, how they can take care of their lifestyle through a federal dollar. Their school systems are ran off federal dollars, right? Their hospitals are ran off federal dollars and private dollars, right? Most of their lifestyle is ran, their housing, right? And their jobs depend on this federal dollar to keep circulating, right? You have them come in through the IRS, right? And that gives them access to your social security numbers, right? It gives them access to your social security accounts, right? It gives them access to everything that you saved and worked your life to where they can give it to somebody else by working into these jobs. And this is why you have to get these systems under control because it's about a takedown of America through a digital war, right? So if you want to take America down, you hire yourselves into all the jobs, right? Like the IRS will control our social security numbers. That's why they don't understand that our whole life has always been tracked by the government. Right? So they have a problem with their business being tracked. And the reason why they have a problem with their business being tracked is because it tells them that you're not American, you're from somewhere else. This account belongs to Coletta and it doesn't belong to you. So why are you using Coletta's account, right? Right? Because how will somebody be getting benefits off my family name and I'm not getting benefits off my family name if I'm the real bloodline, right? So that's them hiring themselves into these IRS departments, letting you know what Coletta's grandparents died and there's a trust fund left in her name, right? So we not gonna give Coletta the trust fund. We're gonna split the trust fund amongst ourselves, right? And you do that through IRS, right? Getting inside of that trust, right? You hire yourself in these departments where they control the trust and the wheels for those families, right? And this is why the IRS had to go into a clean house, right? Because they have to separate who's not the American, who are the relatives and in-laws, right? Who came into the family by marriage, right? To steal the social security number accounts, right? And who is the blood like Coletta, right? Who's supposed to be in the account but can't get access to the account because somebody from across that water or somebody that married into the family, right, took over those accounts. And right now the IRS is trying to investigate, okay, why is the immigrants who not from here getting all this money out of these accounts that don't supposed to be? And that's why we here.
The following are the number of IRS exempt employees by office division as of now reported to the contingency plan. Office of the Commissioner, 22 people.
And we gotta look up the contingency plan. We have to look that up.
Gone. Chief Operations Office, 25 people gone. Chief Risk Office, 4 people gone. Appeals, 129 people gone. Chief Counsel Office.
Now he's explaining how many people, right, that they have already gotten rid of out of the IRS that wasn't supposed to been there. Those are the people that they hired into these jobs, right, to get access to these trust funds account, right? Because it's about the trust fund babies, right? It's about people like me who grandparents passed away and left us trust funds, right? And they ensured that we didn't get this trust fund because they started getting to the IRS and places like that to split these trust funds amongst themselves and their families, which is why we're at war in 2025, because all those families who took those trust funds and split them up are now at war with themselves now, right? And this is the breakdown of how they're in the IRS, right? Cleaning them up out of the IRS. This is them getting fired from the IRS for doing that.
Office 413 people gone.
Mm.
Office of the CFO 91 people gone. Communications and liaison 43 people gone. Criminal investigation 3001 people are gone. Facilities management and security 184 people gone. Human capital office 400 people gone. Information technology 4,552 people are gone.
Now, most of those departments, right, security, information, stuff like that, is them watching you, right, and watching your money, right? Why would somebody need a job in there if it wasn't for them but to steal, right?
Large business and international division 1,039 are gone. Office of professional responsibility 3 people gone. Online services 20 people are gone. Privacy government liaison and disclosure 31 people gone. Procurement 114 people gone. Research applied analytics and statistics 52 people are gone. Return prepared office 8 people are gone. Small business self-employed division 4,911 people gone. Tax compliance officer 5 people gone. Tax exempt government entities division 249 people are gone. Tax advocate services 93 people are gone. Tax payer services 24,470 people are gone.
Now, mind you, he still naming the job that they hired themselves into to steal your information now. He's still going on with how many middlemen, right? Because that's what we call them, people in the middle, right? That we got to pay for the service, right? For them to tell us what to do with our money. Like we don't know what to do with our money. These how many jobs they hired themselves into.
Whistleblower office 11 people are gone. However, all taxpayer advocate service offices in the United States have now temporarily closed due to the shutdown. The staff won't be available to assist taxpayers during this period. Employees who were not exempt or accept furlough and placed in a non-pay and non-duty status until further notice. However, all employees should plan to report to work for the next tour of duty. The IRS said in the message on its website earlier this morning. Employees will be given up to 4 hours to close out work requirements and receive formal furlough notification. A memo sent to all IRS employees. This note from David Trainer at the Human Capital at the IRS states in parts. So pretty much they have the IRS is pretty much closing its offices, and 35,000 employees are pretty much being furloughed right about now. So that's really big. So you definitely.
Yeah, I appreciate King for that. I ain't gonna play that. Y'all go check my King channel out. He has some great topics as well. I don't own the rights to this audio video. This is for educational purposes only, right? We're trying to learn dialogue, what's going on with the shutdown and how it's affecting the people right now, who it's affecting and why it's affecting them, right? So I appreciate y'all for y'all time. We're gonna come back with some more of this dialogue so we can learn and see what's going on. Cause right now America is in a digital war, right? They've been planning for this digital war for a long time, right? Ever since I was in high school, they was working on these computer programs, right? So everything about your computer was designed for them to steal your information, right? It wasn't created, right, for nothing but to steal your personal information. And that's why it's sad, because he just gave a description of everybody in that IRS office who control this money, right? The American money that we get up and go to work for. They go to these schools and start training themselves in these social clubs where they separate themselves as it is, right? They already separating themselves, right? When they get into these social clubs, right? Now they're on the jobs doing it, right? But they're playing around with people money who got to get up and go to work. So they can sit around in these bars and stuff for free, right? Playing games, right? Because these college kids who are adults who want to get free money and a free lifestyle off everybody else, right? And we in a world now where people don't want skills. They want money with no skills. How do you want money with no skills, know how to take care of yourself? When you in a world where you got a bunch of spoon-fed kids who used to their parents handing them stuff, and now that their parents gone, right? They don't know what to do because ain't nobody there to help them. They can't stand like Coletta and continue to live, right? These are the generation we in now. Those kids who parents fed them, right? Every time they wanted something, they told them yeah, right? They couldn't handle no, right? So this is their backlash. I'm gonna go get myself in a job, right? To tear somebody down instead of getting a job to build it up. You know, I was Snapchat Queen, AI chatbot friends. Boy, we're gonna break this digital war down and how they got themselves into our systems, right? To try to work the system against us, right? Learn the law to use the law against us, right? To create situations where they're tearing us down through a digital war because they don't want a physical fight because they know that they can't beat us physically, right? So they will get into a job, right? Because they understand that if they're fighting for economics, get into every job that will have a trickle down effect. IRS is one of those jobs. I'm glad that they caught that. Great job, team. Great job, America. You caught that. You live with Snapchat Queen, AI chatbot friends. Boy, we outside this morning learning about this new digital world they was trying to bring here to steal and not build. It ain't work, Chucky.